The very first card that comes out is the Queen of Archangel Michael, saying that you know exactly what to do. It feels like you know what you need to do. And then as soon as this came out, I could feel some of you just going, yeah, I know what to do, but, right? There's that but. You have the benefit of experience, and this is a time for your career rather than relationships. So that may resonate with some of you, but the most profound statement on this card, and what this card is really talking about, is that you know what to do. In other words, you know what you need to do, but that but part looks like it might take some courage. Archangel Michael, the Eight of Michael, comes in next, talking about you can be free from the situation, and he's inviting you to make a courageous choice to change your situation. You can change your situation. You know what you need to do. So but it's going to take courage. So what that indicates is that you might be in some kind of situation at work, maybe, or in some kind of maybe a relationship at work. That's what it feels like, where it's not going well, but to change the situation would either hurt somebody else, or you're feeling like it would hurt somebody else, or it would hurt you. Like, it feels like some of you feel like you're in a lose-lose kind of situation. And so it would take courage to change it, because it's as if, and this is you guys, this is what I'm feeling from some of you, somebody's going to get hurt. And you don't want anyone to get hurt. And so you feel like stuck, not really seeing another way out or through. So it's like you know what you need to do, and it's just going to take courage to do it. And understanding that sometimes, you know, sometimes we get into situations because there's a bit of deceiving that may have happened in the very beginning of it. And all that glitters is not gold, but you may have seen the situation a certain way, and you may have seen all the glitter. You may have seen what looked like a really positive experience is why you got into it. So, and maybe the way it is, or the way that it's played out, is not at all what you thought it was going to be. That's what this one is saying. Not to say that you deliberately went after, you know, sparkles. It's just that that may have been how it felt to you, and how it appeared to you, how it was presented to you. How it was presented to you that it would be a certain way, and it's turned out that it is not the way that it was presented to you. So you can change the situation, but it's going to be a choice, and it's going to take courage. And the other card that you're getting is to make a bold, ambitious choice. So you got choices and more choices. You know what you need to do, and while you may feel stuck, you do have choices. It feels like there was a deception that went on here, that what was presented was not accurate to what the truth behind all this glitter that was presented to you was. And so where you have control is over your choice. Your choice. You get to choose. You can be free from this situation. You are, in fact, not stuck. But it's going to take some courage. And they're inviting you to make bold and ambitious choices. Bold meaning that, yeah, where this big part of you doesn't want to hurt anybody, including yourself. At the same time, to focus on your ambition, focus on your life and what you know, in the bigger picture, right? Kind of get up and above yourself and look at you in this situation, and this is your life. This is your one life. So make choices towards your ambitions in the bigger picture. Great progress for you is possible. So some of you may feel like if you leave this situation, a difficult situation that actually is not what it appeared to be, that then what? Then, like, some of you may feel like if you were to essentially leave this situation, then you're finding it hard to see what else would take its place, kind of thing, especially if it's work and you need money to pay the bills and you've got this job and it pays the bills. And so if you were to leave that, that could be, you know, kind of scary. So that's why, again, they're talking about courage and boldness. Courage and being bold. And he's reminding you that, you know, great progress is possible for you on the other side of it, whatever you choose. Important relationships with people who share your vision. So it could be that you're in your work situation that you're working with people who are not, they're not what they presented, and it's just not working out. And so one of the choices you could make in focusing on your ambitions and the career that you would like for your life would not include this person. Who would it include? What kind of person would you like to work with? And focusing on that. And when you focus on that person, the energy and the way that you would interact with this amazing person who shares your vision and shares your way of doing things, then it could be glaring how this person that you're involved with that would take courage to step away from, they might shift because of your energy shift, or it may just end. But either way, you are taken care of, is what they're saying. Either way, because when you make that shift, life is going to reflect and people will be coming to you. So when you start imagining the person you would really love to work with, they'll show up. And time is speeding up. This is a really good news, and depending on how you look at it, time is speeding up. So the faster you leave that situation, and sort of, you know, when you leave that situation, it sort of creates this hole that the universe wants to fill in very, very quickly. I've seen situations like this just absolutely switch overnight. When you leave a bad situation with holding a vision of what you do want and the person you do want, they can show up really fast. So you don't, it's like they're asking you not to worry. They're saying don't worry. They're like don't worry about it. You know, you're not stuck. And if it feels like a bold choice to stay or to go, but the biggest thing is going to be your state and focusing on what you would really rather have, what you would really like to have in terms of your career and the people that you would like to work with. Stand up for yourself. This is about you standing up for your life. You're not stuck. This is about you taking your power back. Look at this. Look at this picture. This is about you claiming your personal power. This is your life. This is about you claiming your life right now. Bold, courageous, and ambitious. What would you like for your career? It's about you claiming your personal power and making that choice. And it is a choice. You're also getting the fork in the road. It's a choice. It's a choice. You could stay. You could stay in this situation. You know, is that what you want? Just make sure that, you know, you're not staying out of you know, not facing your fears, kind of thing. It's like facing that the courage that's required. The other side of that courage would be fear, right? Courage requires us to step through the fear. So Spirit is inviting you to step through the fear, because what's on the other side is amazing. But it's a choice. This is coming up in other readings too. Choice is big in November. Choice. Success that comes from self-control. Self-control and patience. And forgiving yourself, forgiving and healing energies. And this forgiveness is referring to stepping into this. You made the choice to step into this. Even though it may have been sort of deceptively, a picture painted that made it look like it was one thing when it wasn't, still, you made the choice to go into this situation. And so they're saying, forgiving yourself for doing that is not like, it's not about beating yourself up. It's not that you made a huge mistake, right? You made a choice and you learned a bunch of stuff, and now you get to make another choice. We make choices all the time. So it could be as simple as just a statement of, I forgive myself for making that choice. It looked like a good option, but now I see it's not, so I forgive myself. That was the choice I made. Now I'm going to make a different choice. It's taking your power back, self-control about that. And success comes from the compromise. Now, what this says is, success comes from objective compromise. And when this came up, I could feel some of you going, number one, some of you were saying you can't compromise with this person. It feels like another person, or in this situation, it's like there's no compromise in this situation. That's what some of you were saying. So why is Spirit asking you to compromise? That if success is going to come from compromise, and this is a person or people that don't do compromise, then why is Spirit bringing this up? And the compromise has to do with you. It's all you and your choice. The compromise that they're referring to is where by leaving, by having the courage to leave the situation, there's going to be some things that you feel like you're compromising. You could feel like you're compromising your job. And if you have a family at home that you need that money to provide for, you may feel like you're compromising the financial welfare of your family and your obligation to take care of your family, kind of thing. They're saying that success comes when that is not what your focus is going to be. That will be taken care of. That part will be taken care of. So it's as if to say, whatever. So let's say that you choose to leave this situation. There's going to be some kind of a compromise. In other words, you're going to lose something, but you're going to gain this. So you may lose this that feels maybe big to you right now, but what you may not realize is that you're going to gain this. So there is a bit of compromise. That's the compromise they're referring to, is the things that you will lose by leaving. But they definitely want to point out that the gains are tremendously outweigh the losses. The compromise will be worth it. That's where the success comes. The compromise will be worth it. They're not saying to compromise yourself. They're not at all saying to compromise your beliefs, your morals, your, values. That's not at all what they're saying. They're saying that the compromise of the loss will be worth the gain. Because you're looking for a positive, new emotional experience. It's like once you success comes when you make that choice. When you make the best choice for you, when you follow what you know you need to do. It's just, there's just some fear involved. But when you when you do what you know you want to do, that's when you get to experience a whole new kind of emotional experience. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So as this goes, it's like you've invested wisely. So this one wants to come up next to say you've invested wisely. You invested in this situation wisely. In other words, it's an interesting, the message is interesting with regarding this card. Using this card to say this message, you've invested wisely. In other words, you tend to do the right thing. You've worked hard. You've tried everything you can think of to make it work. You've bent over backwards until you're just not gonna, you just, like, there comes a point where there's only so far you can go to make something work, including just living in stress. Does that make sense? You've invested wisely, so it's okay. You can move on now if that's what you know you need to do. All right. Have patience. Have patience with yourself as you move forward. So as you make this shift, it's like, as you make this shift, your tribe is going to show up and you're going to get some loyalty from people. You're going to meet new friends. Very quickly, the situation is going to shift. Very quickly, the universe will fill the void. It will fill the hole that's left. If you choose to leave that job or leave that situation, then it leaves an opening. And the universe loves movement, which would be you leaving, and it also loves filling in that space with what you're really wanting. So make sure that you as you make the choice, stay in a state of, being excited about what you're wanting, because that's what Spirit will fill it with. So this is what they're saying. There's opportunities to meet new friends. There's opportunity to meet people who are, in fact, loyal, that are loyal to you. The same way that Spirit is loyal to you. You have friends that are loyal. And so maybe this particular person or whoever's involved in this particular situation wasn't. And so they're going to, you want these kind of people in your world. So find your tribe. You will have a much better time of finding your tribe in a work situation as well as fun, Saturday kind of thing, friendships. You can have that at work too. You know this. And new friendships. All right. So now he wants to come back to say, let's just kind of move on. Let's see, what would you like to create? So as you contemplate this choice, let's just say that you decide to go, then what would you like to create next? And he's saying to envision what you would like to create. Imagine what you're wanting and start planting seeds. Remember again that time is speeding up. So you plant the seeds and the flowers bloom. It's like very fast. You're also getting to contemplate your why. Imagine it, but imagine, why are you wanting to create what you're wanting? Why do you want it? Why do you want it? That's a really good question. Why do you want to leave this situation? Why is this situation stressful, and where and how would you like things to be different? Why would you like change? You know what you would rather have, because you deserve a peaceful, fulfilling, amazing, happy life, right? So imagine what you're wanting and imagine the why. Even get out a notebook if you like. Get out a notebook and write down, the whys. The why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why would you love to create this next project? The why part. And then once you get clear on that and what you'd like to create, we're getting this chop wood. Chop wood, carry water. You heard that expression? That expression is referring to just sort of doing what needs to be done next. Doing what needs to be done. There's not a whole lot of meaning going on. It's just once you've imagined what you're wanting and you've started and you've contemplated why you want it, now you're just going to start taking steps towards it. It's like the whole spiritual side of what you're wanting is clearer, and you've got peace with that, and you know exactly what you're wanting, and now you start taking these action steps from this kind of state, right? From this kind of golden and blue, this beautiful, that's your sort of state. You're excited and yet you're in peace with what you want to create next, and it's going to be beautiful. Now you start taking the steps. Chop wood, carry water. This is what needs to be done, and you just do the steps to start creating it. They're inviting you. Okay, yeah, here's the peace part. Here's the peace part. Get yourself into a peaceful state. Yeah, a peaceful state as you're, imagining what you're wanting. Get yourself in a peaceful state. I knew there was a peace card. I just kind of lost it for a second. Okay, and then start taking the steps. As you go, stay connected to your higher power. Stay connected to source, your higher self. Meditations, getting out in nature, however you guys do that. However you have figured out works best for you. Staying connected with source and your higher self and what's in line with your purpose and your higher purpose, your reason for being here, kind of thing. That's what you want to create. And your final card is milk and honey. I love this for you guys. I just love it. It's like things can work out really, really well. Milk and honey. This card is saying basically with the rainbow, it's like everything that you've imagined actually comes into fruition. Everything you've imagined and why comes into fruition. And this can happen very fast. So you know what to do. She wants to come back. She's like, you know what to do. You know what you need to do. And you're gonna look at why. Why. This card can also, this why can also help you make the choice that you want to make up here that takes courage and boldness. What else? Ambition. Courage, bold, and ambitious. Why? Why would you choose what you would choose? So you might just kind of sit with it, Cancer. You guys are good at this. Just kind of sit with, okay, let's imagine that I stay in this situation. Why? Why would you stay in this situation? And is this truly what you're wanting? Is this what your soul wants you to do? And you just kind of feel into that. And then just sort of erase. And now imagine that you're leaving this situation, even though you might have to compromise some things. You might have, a little bit of loss. The gain is just going to be tremendous. Why? Why would you leave? Feel into that and see how that feels, and also connecting with your higher self and what you know you should do. Feel into your gut about that. Feel into the depths that you guys are capable of to know what you'd like to do, staying connected with source. Why would you do what you want to do? But whatever you choose, you want it to come out like this. We all want this to come out like this for you guys. So look at the why part. Don't hesitate to be courageous and bold and ambitious. It's a good time to do that.